Welcome to the Movement PT Coffee Cast, where we sit down and talk about physical therapy, health, and whatever else comes to mind during our coffee-infused conversations. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Movement PT Coffee Cast. My name's Dalton, and with me, as always, is my beautifully bearded friend, William. William, how are we doing today?
Doing good, man. I got my third coffee of the day here, so I'm kind of hitting the peak, you know?
Yeah, it's go time, right? I'm with you. I'm hitting my third cup today as well. Man, I'm happy to be back, bro. I feel like it's been a long time.
I know. Yeah.
Just to peer through my computer screen and just see that smile and that beard, I'm just happy, man. I'm happy.
You've had too much coffee, man.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm excited. It's good to be back and just sort of recording. I feel like so much has happened in the last few weeks that we haven't talked about that much.
Yeah, we got our first sponsor for the podcast. I didn't tell you.
Oh, yeah?
But I just wanted to let everyone know that this episode is brought to you by The Original Blend, which is a coffee that is put out by The Movement. And you guys are in for a treat, a big treat. For those of you who have already purchased The Original Blend, we thank you. And for those of you who are interested, and if you want to get some good coffee, you can check the link in our bio on Instagram. And you can also check the show notes because we're going to leave a link there for you guys to go and purchase a bag. So we're excited to have them on board as a sponsor. They fuel the PT Coffee Cast. And we hope that you guys can also buy a bag and fuel yourselves with it. That's my plug for the day, man, as I sip from my Movement mug.
Oh, yes.
No, but for real, though, thank you to everyone who has purchased a bag. We hope you guys enjoy the coffee. We've had some really good feedback from people that have had it. They enjoy it. Continue to give us that feedback, guys, and we're going to continue, again, to find ways to get that to you, push it to you. It's something that we're very excited about, and we're continuing to kind of figure out how we're going to use it to continue to push our message. So we are excited. All right, man, let's get into it. I want to start off I want to hear about the powerlifting competition. I know you put a lot of hard work into that, and to see you go and do it and, you know, have it actually pay off, like in both, like, I think a way for like you to finally do something that you've been wanting to do for a while and also actually have success at the meet, man. I'm pumped. So I want to hear about it.
All right. Well, first, I got to give a few shout-outs.
All right. Shout out.
So I got to shout out Andy Chen at Burke Lifestyle. He's been, like, super huge, just kind of, like, helping doing my programming and stuff. He's also the guy that kind of, like, I would say got me aware of, like, powerlifting in general, you know, that it would be something I was interested in. And then also Jared Maynard, who just I talk to him all the time. He helps me out with just like learning about the sport, and also hooked me up with my my handler for the day. So shout out to Andrew, if you're listening to this. Was huge during the meet. But yeah, so now that, you know, kind of just shouted out everybody who was kind of involved there. Get into it a little bit. It was so much fun, man. It was like, I can't even describe how awesome the experience was, because I haven't competed in such a long time. You know, like before got into PT school, I played baseball for 4 years at Brock University. So, you know, I've always competed, and I had that kind of ache just to get back into that sort of environment, you know. And what I didn't realize was how supportive and how hype the powerlifting community is.
Mm-hmm.
Like just everybody's so down to just like, help each other out and pump each other up. And I've just felt all of the training kind of come to fruition when you step out onto the platform and you just like, man, butterflies thinking about it. Just so much fun, man. Getting out there and like lifting big weights, and it was a blast.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I agree with you on that, like missing that feeling of competition. Did you outperform your expectations, or like how did that kind of go with it? Like where was your head at? I know it was your first competition, and I'm assuming you just want to go in there and just get the experience of it all. But in terms of like the weights you pulled, I know you had a couple PRs, right? So like, how was that whole thing?
I think that's like the cool thing about powerlifting is like you see the end result, but like really there's so much work and planning that goes into the whole process. So the cool thing is like you're not really guessing. Like you're kind of like, you have all this data from how you've been lifting in the past couple of weeks. And so, going in, I kind of had an idea of what I would be able to do. And I've done so many repetitions. It's nothing new. So I think like part of the big thing was just managing the intensity of the moment and seeing, how your lifts are going that day. And so it was kind of like, we started off a little slower and just noticed that with the extra adrenaline from the moment, like the weights were moving a little bit quicker. So if they're moving a little bit quicker, you hit a couple of your early lifts, which is what happened for me. Like I didn't get any faults, so you can kind of take a chance on your third lift. And so we decided to just go for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like with the adrenaline, I think it just kind of like took it a little notch up.
Sure, of course. Yeah. What because you PR'd your deadlift and your squat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like when you're doing the deadlifting, it's like they joke like, the meat doesn't start until you hear the weights hitting the floor.
Yeah.
And like people just get so pumped,
Yeah, that's sweet.
So that was a fun one, and I love deadlifting, obviously.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, it got me hyped to see how many people were there, bro. And I saw some of the video, like, and then I saw like it was kind of like a background, like a back view of you, and you could see like all the people. I got nervous, man. I'm like, oh shit! I'm like, this guy's about to pull this weight off the ground. I'm like, he must be so hyped. But,
man, totally, dude. And you know what? Like, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit nervous, but I think like honestly, if you haven't been like a competitor in the past, it would be pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be that many people out there, and I think it just has to do a lot with the event. I think the event that I just happened to go to was like a fairly popular event,
right?
And so it was like, yeah, I think definitely having experience with baseball and playing in front of crowds and stuff was helpful.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. To make it a little tangible, something that I know, like this whole powerlifting, doing a competition was something that you hemmed and hawed about for a while. You kind of dabbled in it a little bit. Like I remember, like even when we were training together in like physio school, and then I know you started doing it a little bit, and then you kind of got away from it. And I remember you telling me that you were like, "Screw it, I'm gonna sign up for this competition, and I'm gonna just go for it." Take me through maybe like some of the barriers that you had going into that, like to make that commitment to like signing up for the competition, and then once you did that, like take me maybe a little bit through like the process and how once you finally signed up for that and had committed to it, like how your mindset had shifted around like lifting.
Yeah, I think to begin with, like that decision, it's a tough one because I think everybody kind of has this ability to sort of talk themselves out of things, you know, and you sort of rationalize why you can't do. It was almost like I was like noceboing myself, you know. And you have this, like, I had this ideal picture of like, oh, this is going to be the right time to do it. Like, I don't want to have too much of stress on the side, you know, because like we were going through doing our exam. But I kind of just got to this point where I was like, you know what? Who cares about all that? I'm going to go with how I'm feeling each day. And that's going to change. But like, there's no reason I can't go and do this competition.
Yeah.
You know, and so I sort of just decided to take the leap, you know, and for me, that was a big thing. As you mentioned, like my mindset with training and lifting and stuff has changed a lot. And yeah, it's almost like a hard thing to talk about because, you know, you see this type of thing with a lot of the people we see as physios where, I guess comes from probably like society and just the way we talk about ourselves and our movement and I guess around the gym in general. It's very negative. You know, it's very much like, oh, your movement has to look like this in order for you to be lifting safely and stuff like that. Or, oh, like lifting heavy is dangerous. Or, you know, like if you have pain, like you're making yourself way worse. Obviously my mindset around a lot of that stuff has changed for me, you know, but, and that was huge in kind of letting me push myself in powerlifting, you know, because I always kind of held back. Like if there was a little bit of, I don't know, whatever, you name it, if the movement was a little off, I was like, oh, I shouldn't, you know, load this more or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I was like inhibiting my progress, you know, and that's changed for me. So I went in with a new approach that I knew I was capable and resilient, you know, and that I could adapt to changes over time. And if that came with some adversity, that I could make adjustments and continue going forward, you know. But I've realized a lot because it's hard. If it's hard for me, you know, then it's doubly as hard for people who don't know some of this stuff, you know. Because I'm not even kidding, man. Like people would come up to me at the gym sometimes and comment on things like the amount of spinal flexion I'm having, like butt wink, or like that, oh, shouldn't your knees hurt if you're like loading that heavy? Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, what if that's happening to somebody else who doesn't maybe have the confidence and understanding and some of these things that I do? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's something that I've realized is a big problem, and hopefully we can change the culture a little bit around resistance training in general.
Yeah, and just understanding that like you're not going to feel good all the time, and like shit's going to happen throughout the process of no matter what it is, whether you're training to powerlift, whether you're training for CrossFit, whether you're just training to be healthy in general, like something's going to happen along that course of time that's not going to feel good, or, you know, like you're going to have a little pain, you're going to have a little discomfort, and that's okay. You navigate that situation. It doesn't mean that you just stop, you know, like your body's capable of adapting to those things, and like it's been shown, right? So I mean, I agree with that, and it's cool. It's a good reminder, I think, for like yourself, like as like someone who's working with people on a daily basis, to like be like, okay, like it just reinforces like, yo, this is right. Like you can get through this stuff, and you need to trust the process, and it's okay to not have good days and modify and have a little bit of injuries and all, like, all that stuff, so you can then reinforce that to the people that you're seeing on a daily basis that might be on a different scale but could be more powerful if it's someone who's trying to exercise for the first time, or has been going through knee pain for X amount of years and hasn't been able to go to the gym 2 times a week, which is something that they love to do. You know what I mean? So I think that's pretty cool that you were able to like experience that for sure.
Oh yeah, man. Like, I think we have to recognize the benefits of resistance training are so high, for everybody. And like, they far outweigh the potential harms, and so continuing to train and being out there lifting is like, we want to keep people doing that. Mm-hmm. And I think just recognizing that when you have pain, you may have had it when you weren't exercising as well. You won't know that. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to be unsure about why you're having it, and adjust if you need to. For example, like, I had a period of like 3 weeks where I just had this back pain and I had no idea why I had it. I just kept exercising. It wasn't making it worse. And then it just went away. Mm-hmm. I didn't change anything. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know why I had back pain. I probably would have had it if I wasn't training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we need to start biasing towards understanding the risks of not exercising.
Yeah.
Versus like being risk averse because we're worried something might happen.
For sure. Yeah.
You go and train.
Yeah, man. And the benefits of training and exercising is so much more than just like lifting a weight or the weight that you lift or the PR that you pull in a powerlifting competition. And I think the more our society starts to like challenge themselves and push themselves and realize you can overcome like a little bit of adversity and like be okay with that discomfort, man, it's goes a long way. That's one thing that I've taken away from just training over the years. And it's definitely helps shape a framework that I think we need more of in today.
Absolutely. It's like that idea that you're able to overcome like difficult obstacles, like that's so beneficial.
Yeah, for sure. Dope, man. I'm super pumped. Like, honestly, I was so fired up because you ended up getting third, right? Let's not like forget to tell people that. Like, yeah, that's sick, man. That's so sick. And I was so pumped because I just know the process that you went through, man. And again, a lot of people will see that third place and just be like happy, but like to know kind of your journey through it is and then see you kind of do that is cool. And now I know it's kind of revitalized and like reamped you up, and maybe got you into a new avenue or passion that you never really realized before, which is sweet.
Yeah, totally, man. Appreciate it. And I just hope people see the video, and maybe it'll inspire them to realize that they're capable and look at things in a different way and maybe get into doing it themselves,
Yeah. Sweet. Let's talk a little. So while you were doing this powerlifting, obviously I'm sure people may have noticed, may not. I don't know how closely people follow us, but have realized like we haven't been posting as much on social. We've kind of been quiet in our podcasts. Our posts we've been posting periodically, whereas normally we were posting like a post every day. I know one of the things you wanted to do, which again is like I respect the hell out of this, is like you wanted to really focus on just training for your powerlifting meet and trying to go kind of all in on that, which is amazing. I also know that like you were also having just some, I don't know what the right word is, like I'll let you kind of say it, but maybe burnout or something along those lines of like posting on social. That kind of led to us taking a little bit of a break?
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty good. Just getting a little bit burnt out, and I think just wanting to sort of revisit and this is both of us like just trying to revisit what it is, the type of impact that we want to have. Because I personally found, and I think I probably do this more than you, but I found myself reacting a lot to some of the negativity and some of the debates on social media, which was getting me a bit frustrated, and I wanted to step away from that and just recognizing like I don't have to pay attention to that all the time, you know, and switching it to, okay, forget that. What do we want to do? You know, and like what's the impact that we're hoping that we can have with our platform?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Rather than just trying to fit into like what everybody else is doing.
Kind of where the wave is going of things. Yeah, no, and I agree, and I think it's easy to just get caught in that. Not that it was a bad thing for us. Like it was. I think it was positive. Like we were still doing our thing and doing what we wanted to do, but I think we got to a point like we're over a year and a bit now of like putting out content and like doing podcasts and stuff like that. And we really focused on putting a post out every day. And I think you can kind of almost force yourself to create content for the sake of creating content to put out on your page. And what I think we want to do, and I think we're still trying to figure it out, is how do we make like our content maybe more purposeful with the things that we post, you know, and what do we want to get across? Because I think as more people start to dive into the space, right, like whether it be other physios, other professions, the public, I think we start to realize like we hold a responsibility to put out things that are good pieces of content that are backed by evidence, that are not negative, that is going to hopefully help people and take control of their health, which is like our big purpose for what we're trying to do. So, and it's challenging. It's definitely challenging.
I think one of the cool things is like when we kind of took some time off, like both of us had, you know, some people reach out, like younger, either clinicians or like students or hopeful kind of students. And I think that sort of like fired us up, you know, having people that are taking notice and are hopefully just going into whatever their next stage is with maybe a little more of an open mind and maybe just looking into some things in a different way from a different perspective. And that's super cool, you know, because I feel like it's getting earlier and earlier, you know, as the years go by.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean as to people having that open mind or that purpose behind? Yeah, I would agree. Mm-hmm. And I credit that to like the open platforms of social. As much as like there's some shit out there and it's negative and whatever, there's also so much positivity that's and good things that are happening because of it. And it's cool to see that, you know, reflect itself through like these people coming and talking to us, you know. And what also is cool for me too, and I'm sure you get it, is like you hear them talking about other people in the space that we have relationships with that we know are trying to push that positive mission and things. And it's cool to see like that those people are being highlighted. You know what I mean? Like I've had people, the majority of students I meet like know about Nick Hanna. They know about Level Up. They know about Zach Kabor. They know about Emma. They know about like a lot of these voices in the social space that are trying to push this positive message and idea of like growing the profession in a positive way. And it's cool. It's cool to see that.
Yeah. And I think like, you know, that's the kind of impact we want to make sure we're having.
Right.
You know,
and not just
from
putting
now on,
like a piece of content for the sake of like putting it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I think we're still trying to figure it out, but it's it's nice to be back and talk. Like, we recorded a podcast today that will be coming out probably a week after this, and hopefully have some sweet guests lined up to continue having conversations with, which it was actually a good thing to take a little bit of a break, because when we got back to it, I was like, damn, I miss doing this. This is fun. So like, definitely know the podcast is still coming hard.
Oh yeah, that's something that I think we're totally realizing, is that the podcast is where it's at.
Yeah, man. Anything else? Anything interesting in clinic recently that comes to mind for you that you want to like touch on, or maybe like cover?
I don't. Do you?
I have one thing that comes to mind. It was kind of a conversation that we had, and we don't have to talk too much about it. We can be quick with it. But it was someone that like I was seeing, that just, it was just a tough case. It wasn't going to be someone. It was a younger person. Lots going on. Been told they had one thing for many years, and starting to realize that they don't have that, or it might be something else. They don't really know. They're having a lot of pain. They can't do a lot of things that they want to do. And I felt kind of like, I felt stuck. I'm like, I don't know really what to do. You know what I mean? And again, one of my focuses always when I'm working with people is to try to understand like what they want to do, what are their goals, what in their life are they not participating in because of X, Y, and Z, whether it be like an injury or their pain, and then try to make our sessions driven to get them to doing those things, right? And I think one thing that you told me, because I was pretty frustrated just with the whole situation, was like this idea of maybe they're not ready for it right now, or they won't understand it now, but that interaction that you have with that person in that session is always an opportunity to sprinkle in some seed or framework or thought that they could then come back to maybe later on and realize, oh, this is what they were talking about, or oh, I see now what they mean. I'm ready to come back and try that. Or maybe it's just a little bit of an understanding about pain or their injury, or how they can, take control of their own health and change the situation that they're in. And I thought that was really powerful, and it kind of like reminded me that like it's okay to not know maybe sometimes, and that your interaction with that person is still very important, and that you have to take ownership of the fact that you have that influence over that person, and not let your feelings or your emotions of frustration of like not knowing what to do, not having enough time to interact with this person the way you want to, because that can like leave them with a negative like thought or understanding of what like physio is. And that was powerful for me.
Cool. Yeah. Like, I think that's huge for anyone, like just sort of realizing that like, if somebody comes to you with a very complex situation and no one knows the best way to approach it, you can't hold their health outcomes on you. Like, you're not responsible for their situation and for the hardships that they've had. Your job is to be the opposite of that with them for however long you see them. Mm-hmm. So have it only be the opportunity for them to come away with something. Whether they do or they don't is not necessarily like your responsibility. Your responsibility is to provide them the opportunity to make some type of improvement. And maybe that doesn't occur immediately. Like you said, like planting a seed, we all know who we got this idea from. We're not going to mention it, but like they may come back later, and maybe that seed has gotten a little bit bigger in their head. Mm-hmm. And then that time, way down the road, you can build on that when they're more ready.
Yeah.
But But if you give up on that interaction immediately, you may not have that opportunity, and you're just starting from square one every time. You know, I think it's being open to the idea that things may not come to their full conclusion right away with every client.
Yeah, and it's hard to see that sometimes when you're in the moment, or if you don't take time to reflect and have like a conversation like this, just given like how our system is set up, right, and what people expect when they come and see you. It's challenging, you know, because you being the type of person that I am, and I know that you are, you want to help this person, but like you said, you can't take ownership for that. They have to take ownership for it for themselves, and maybe they're not willing to do that yet, and that's okay. It's just on you to try to hopefully maybe help them understand that. So I think that's big for sure, and that kind of leads into like our next episode on the podcast, talking a little bit about the philosophy of it all behind it, and the human behind every interaction. Yeah, man. Do you have anything else you want to add or talk about, or?
No, I think that's a good one to kind of like finish it off on. I don't think I have anything that important to add. I already talked a lot.
Yeah, man. We'll wrap it up there. Guys, thanks again for supporting us, for tuning in, for listening, for buying our coffee if you bought a bag, you know, sending us messages, emails, like that stuff is means the world to us. And again, it is what we want to try to get out of what we're doing. So please continue to reach out and ask any questions that you want. We'll do our best to give you our thoughts on things. But yeah, thanks again. If you guys want to reach out to us and you don't know where, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MVMT PTs. You can email us, themovementpts@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you enjoyed any of our episodes, please head over to iTunes, subscribe to our podcast, the PT Coffee Cast, and leave us a review and a rating. It really helps our podcast grow and helps us get to more people. And as always, my friends, stay highly caffeinated. Peace.